Welcome to the live stream. My name is Patrick Lorienti. I've been a licensed agent here in Denver, Colorado for the last 10 years. And guys, we do these Denver real estate market updates every single Wednesday. And this is the greater Denver metro. I'm not just talking about the city. I'm talking about all of the surrounding areas as well. And in today's video, we're going to go over Denver pricing trends for 2025, rising inventory and what it signals. Is this the start of a buyer's market? What sellers need to know? And last but not least, summer predictions and beyond. So stay tuned. And guys, I just want to encourage you, if this is your first time on the channel watching a video like this, be sure to subscribe, because the reality is when you go to buy and sell, it might not be next week or next month, but maybe 2 or 3 months from now. And you're going to want this type of information. Again, we do this weekly, every Wednesday, live, so that way you guys are put in a position of power of knowing what is actually happening with the real estate market, how it affects you as a buyer, how it affects you as a seller. And ultimately, guys, this information is set up in a way that you guys can make smart real estate decisions because of it. So without further ado, let's get into the market update. I'm sharing my screen right here. And as you can see, we've got weekly market brief, May 20, 2025. This is really, really good stuff. And we're going to get through it fairly quick because I don't want you to have to sit here for an hour. So let's dive right in. So after a 5-week general downward trend, the detached residential real estate market just notched a flashy new record. An average sold price of $854, pushed upward by a handful of $2.5 million plus sales. It's a great headline, guys, but keep in mind that the middle of the market is moving far more modestly. One luxurious closing can lift the entire average. So if you're just looking at the chart, guys, if you're looking at headlines, if you're looking at sources that aren't telling you the truth, they might say, hey, guys, the prices are up. And they're not wrong. But the reality is that's not the most accurate picture of what's happening. So you see this line right here where it jumps up. You could look at that and say, oh, look at the average sales price per week. Look at the peak. Look at where pricing hit. But it's not actually all that relevant to what's actually happening in the market. And that's why we go through all of this information for you guys so you can understand what's actually happening. Now, condos and townhomes. Condos and townhomes are often the canary in the real estate coal mine. When the market cools, these smaller, more price-sensitive properties fill the squeeze first, offering an early read on where the broader market may head next. After peaking at $460,000 earlier this year, the average sold price for condo townhome market slid to $437,000 last week. Guys, that's almost a $30,000 price reduction from earlier this year to now. Days on market has stretched to 54 days, while more than 40% of listings have taken at least one price cut and 65% are selling below asking. The kicker is the rapid rise of inventory in this market segment, particularly in the $250,000 to $500,000 price range, which topped out at 2,455 properties available last week. That's this blue line right here. You can see there's an incredible amount of inventory in this price point relative to all the other price points. And anytime you've got a supply and demand ratio like that, you're going to get a market where pricing tends to dip. So on the condo and townhome market, buyers currently hold the upper hand, ample choice, room to negotiate, and sellers eager to deal. Seller must price with precision, polish presentation, and be ready to adjust quickly. Stubbornness will only lengthen market time and erode proceeds. As you guys can see, look, if you're a seller and you're pricing at $480 and the market's at $460, and then all of a sudden you're like, we priced too high. Let's go down to $460. And all of a sudden the market's actually at $440. And then you guys are like, well, let's go to $450. And then the market drops to $437. That's the slippery slope of price reductions and stubbornnness that we're talking about here that we just want you guys to be able to avoid. Pricing accurately right off of right out of the gate and making sure you prepare your property exceptionally well is going to ensure you make the most amount of money when you sell your house. As history shows, whatever happens in condos and townhomes often foreshadows the broader market. So let's get into general market trends. Across the front range, we're seeing the usual late spring rhythm. Plenty of fresh listings, days on market inching up, contracts holding steady, and overall inventory climbing. So let me decipher what was just said there. Plenty of fresh new listings. That one's obvious. We have plenty of new listings hitting the market. It's taking longer for those listings to sell. It's inching up the days on market. Contracts are holding steady, meaning there's a solid amount of buyer activity still, and that's holding steady. But overall, inventory, the amount of homes for sale, is rising. So active inventory right here, we have 12,741 homes. More to come on that here shortly. New listings, 1,745 homes brought to the market. That's quite high. Both of these are, for reference. Under contract, 1,000 properties, 1,073 properties found buyers, and days on market is at 35.9, which actually seems quite low. I think it's much higher than that in reality. But let's move on, and then I'll get to explaining those in more depth here shortly. Buyer activity and what comes next. Buyer showing activity remains healthy and markedly elevated over the last 3 years, hitting almost 29,000 showings last week. Guys, it's this tan line right here. If you can see it, that's really, really, really strong showing activity. While still off the highs of 2021, which is this line here, this activity is a good sign for sellers who are feeling the challenge of substantial competition. Broad showing counts confirm pent-up demand, but swelling inventory has pushed showings per listing to their lowest level in years. Expect that ratio to slip further as supply keeps rising and buyer traffic gradually tapers into the end of the year. Let me explain this to you guys. I'm going to jump in here. It's me. So what we're seeing is actually substantially high volume in the amount of showings that are happening in our market. So we have this party with a ton of buyers, okay? But all of those buyers have so many more homes to look at that the amount of showings per listing is actually very low. And so let me show you guys. Let me see if it's here. I want to show you guys. So showings per listing, you can see in 2022, it's this dark green line. In 2021, the showings that we're experiencing are along this same line, but the showings per listing are actually down here in this tan line. And so that's why sellers are feeling the pressure. Last week, showings averaged just 2.26 per showings per listing. Some homes drew 8 to 10 visits, while others have sat for weeks without a single tour. And guys, I will attest to this. I have a listing right now that actually is the example of a listing that's been on the market and hasn't had a single showing. It's just the market we are in. Prices spiked last week, but history says that's a temporary blip. A few lucky sellers will still snag quick above ask deals, and some buyers will have to sharpen their offers to win a coveted home. For the broader market, though, expect a slow drift downward as inventory builds and buyer energy cools into the year end. Buyers keep cash and pre-approvals ready. Bargains are coming. Sellers beat the curve with standout prep or timely price cuts. Stubborn waiting only costs you more in a falling market. So, guys, as promised, I'm just going to go through my notes here. I told you we'd go through Denver home price trends. As you could see in those graphs, while we hit a peak in average sales price, that was largely due to some luxury property selling. But the reality is, guys, prices are falling. My guess, my prediction, doing these updates every single week is that this will be our first negative price curve we've seen in a very long time. By how much? I think a lot of that's going to depend on how much interest rates fall, if they do at all. If we're not seeing any substantial downward pressure on rates, I think we could probably see pricing anywhere from 1% to 5%-ish, depending on your location and area. Now, that's a nuanced conversation, and we'll probably have a video specific to price trends, the nuances involved with that, etc. But Denver home price trends for 2025, guys, we've seen the peak. It's likely that we're going to see a downward trend all the way to the end of the year, starting now. And it's already started in the condos and townhomes. We said we're going to go over rising inventory and what it signals. Guys, literally just what I said. all those new listings coming to market is creating less competition for buyers. They have more homes to look at, and therefore pricing is likely going to come down because of as a result of it. Is this the start of a buyer's market? Yep. In my opinion, yes, absolutely. It's the start of a buyer's market. And in fact, I think depending on where you're looking for a home, it already is a buyer's market, meaning buyers have more leverage than sellers now. Now, there's going to be your one or two circumstances where you have the right listing at the right price in the right location and you go over asking with multiple offers. That still happens in today's market. It's just fewer and far between, and it's not the standard. More likely than not, buyers are going to have the leverage in most of these situations. What sellers need to know right now is, guys, I can't stress enough the importance that you prepare your property. Go to new communities, go to new build communities, walk into their model homes and get your house to look as close to that as you possibly can. And I know that's asking a lot. Most of you who are going to be selling a home, you're still living there. God forbid you have kids and you got to keep the house clean all the time. I get it. But get it as close as you possibly can, because the reality is, guys, buyers are picky. They have more to look at, and they are going to negotiate as hard as they possibly can on a house that needs work. And if you prepare your property in a way that is absolutely exceptional, as best as you possibly can, even if it needs work, they might look beyond that because it's so well cleaned, it smells nice, it presents well. And so go to some new build properties, look at how they have their house prepared, and match that as close as you possibly can. Next up, guys, is you need to price your property accurate to the market. Not the market yesterday, not last week or last month, but today and what's going to happen in a month. And so by having this information that we do every single Wednesday and present it to you this way, you are going to know exactly where the market's going, what trends are happening today, actually. And that way you guys can price properly based on what's actually happening to the market. If you guys do those two things exceptionally well, you're going to have a good experience in this market, and you're likely going to perform very, very well. And just know, we're in a market that's softening. We're in a market where prices are likely to be on a downtrend. And so just expect it's going to take longer to sell your home. You might have to experience a price reduction or two. But if you do the two things that I talked about just now, that is going to set you up for success. And guys, I think that kind of explains my predictions for summer and beyond. The market's softening. And so buyers, get ready. You're going to have some incredible deals to be had. Sellers, it's going to be a tougher market. But in order to win in today's market, if you do those two things we talked about, you're going to be just fine. And then last but not least, just have a phenomenal team behind you, because today it is a market where you can't just put a sign in the yard. It requires professionalism like we've never had it before. It requires in-depth analysis of the market like we're doing here, so that we can convey that to our sellers and buyers and help you guys understand the market and make smart decisions because of it. And it's going to take execution that it actually takes work. You got to get up and show up. And I'm sorry, but there are agents out there who don't. And so you got to have a phenomenal team behind you. If you are buying or selling in Colorado, you've got my information down below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And no, guys, I've been licensed for the last 10 years. Would love nothing more to serve you. As much as I love doing these videos, I love nothing more than actually having these conversations with you and helping set you up for success when it comes time for you to sell or buy in today's market. With that, guys, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I will answer them live. Otherwise, I'm going to jump off. I like that we're keeping this relatively short and sweet. I think this is jammed packed with really, really, really good information. So if you're catching this on the tail end, be sure to jump back in, watch the whole thing through. And this really will set you guys up for success if you are buying or selling in today's market. And if those of you who are on this video have already bought or already sold, you're a homeowner and you're just curious where the market's headed and going, like it can be a little bit scary at times, knowing that we're in a softening market, prices coming down. Maybe we do a video for you guys and just how do I think about this? How do I not lose my marbles in knowing that my house, I bought it a year ago or 2 years or 3 years ago, is going to actually be worth less maybe than I bought it for? The short and sweet version is just hold. Just hold. The market always goes up and it always goes down. And it has from the beginning of time. And so, hopefully you're in a position where you can just hold. If not, and you're in a position where you need to sell at a deficit, maybe you consider renting. Again, this is where a really, really good team will come in handy. My number's down below. Thank you guys for joining, and be sure to subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.